Today is the second anniversary of October the 7th, the worst thing that happened to Jews worldwide since the Holocaust. But I don't think today is the time to focus on mourning. When October 7th actually happened, I think the first thing we all felt was shock, just shock. It was unbelievable. And honestly, I still don't understand how this happened. I still feel that disbelief, but it did happen. On the next anniversary, we all felt huge anger. I think it was the main feeling, anger, and it was justified, and it was good that people felt anger. It was good that people felt hate, because the feeling of hate is being demonized, but it's a natural feeling, like love, like disgust. If you don't let hate control you, just like if you don't let love control you or disgust control you, it informs your actions, because actions without emotions are weak. But today, on the second anniversary, I think the most important thing to focus on is hope and progress. Because when someone has survived a shipwreck, he doesn't need you to tell him about the water, about the clouds, about the storm. He knows all that. He's already close to drowning. He needs to hear about the land. He needs to see his progress. He needs to see hope. And there has been progress. Many good things have happened since. And because the event is not really over yet, I don't think now is the time to focus on memory and mourning, which are, of course, completely legitimate feelings. And it's a good thing to talk about it. But I don't think it's the main thing. So today, I want to talk about the good things that happened since, the progress we have made. So first of all, most of the hostages are back. Out of the 251 people who were kidnapped on that, 148 have returned alive, one way or the other. Right now, only 20 people are in Gaza, and well, Trump says a lot of things, but Bibi is usually more reserved with his statements. So I will allow myself to feel hope that they will be home soon as well. And it's a very important point. Those people were released without Israel giving up on its vital war goals, without Israel withdrawing from Gaza. Because this war must end with Israel having a security zone. October 7 showed us that it is absolutely vital. Also, the only thing that the enemy perceives as defeat, it's not destruction, it's not death. The enemy is willing to pay that price. It's loss of land. And it's absolutely vital that the enemy loses land as a result of this war. And the fact that we managed to force them to free most of the hostages without just withdrawing and telling them, okay, forgive and forget, that's amazing. Hezbollah has been defeated. Yes, they're still there, they haven't officially disarmed, but Israel has killed hundreds of them since the ceasefire. Israel attacks their weapon stockpiles literally every day, and they do nothing. They do absolutely nothing except make the occasional vague statement. They are a bunch of broken invalids. And their new leader has been described as cute. So let them be cute. And speaking of cute, the Iraqi militias have completely given up on the fight. Remember, there were drones from Iraq? Nothing. They gave up. Everyone who was directly involved in the planning and execution of October 7 has been killed or captured. Hamas has been reduced from this fearsome barbaric horde into a bunch of hateful rats scattered through the ruins, looking for, and even just looking for food, honestly. They are surviving in the ruins of their misbegotten civilization. I always said they're not uncivilized, they're mis-civilized. They've created an evil civilization, and it has been mostly destroyed. Their tunnels are mostly down. Most of their weapons have been lost. And again, the plan which Trump has introduced and which we're very close to achieving leads to their disarmament. And that would be victory, because Israel had two war goals. Like when the war started on October 7th, Israel had two war goals. One goal was releasing all the hostages without withdrawing from Gaza, because you need a security buffer zone and because the enemy must lose land as a result of the war. The second war goal was disarming all the armed factions in Gaza. And I'm not saying Hamas, because even on October 7th, it wasn't just Hamas which invaded Israel. It was Islamic Jihad, it was some elements of ISIS, you had a couple of communist organizations, it was the Red-Green Alliance manifested. And Trump's plan is basically bringing back the British Mandate of Palestine, which is not the best solution, but it's far from the worst. Assad's regime has fallen, and the new regime is willing to talk with Israel. They're no less barbaric and brutal, but they're also pragmatic. And as evidence of that, I'll say that they have said they will no longer celebrate the October 6th attack, Yom Kippur War, and they are willing to engage in direct talks with Israel. Like, notice that we've never had any direct talks with Hamas. It's like, Hamas is in one room, Egypt is in another room, America is in a third room, Qatar is in a fourth room, and there's like this guy running between rooms, like in Scooby-Doo. And Syria is willing to, like, the Syrian foreign minister has met with Israeli officials. We're talking. We're not going to be friends. They're not going to like us. Their schools will continue to teach anti-Semitism for many more years. They're going to hate us. But they are willing to talk, and we can have a kind of a cold peace. You do you, we do us. There's a nice fence there. Bye-bye. And the last thing is, yes, we've discovered that we have countless enemies all over the world. Enemies which are barbaric and vicious and loud, and they're more than willing to attack totally random Jews in the West, Jews that have absolutely nothing to do with Israel. But we have also discovered that we have true friends, people who will stand by Israel even when it's hard, even when it's not profitable. And while our enemies are the garbage of the world, they're the dregs of society, they're the lowest of the law, our friends are the best people in the world, the wealthiest, the smartest, the most powerful. And even though they are few, they are mighty. And Israelis like to say, oh, the whole world is against us, everyone hates us. And that's not the case. Because we always knew that we had enemies. We always knew that our enemies outnumbered our friends. But we learned that we have true friends. And they're not fair weather friends. They're real friends. And that is amazing. We learned it right after October 7, and we see it now. Israel has friends. Jews have friends. So, off the top of my head, those are some of the positives that happened since. This is our progress towards victory. Perhaps not absolute victory, but a victory. And I would like to finish with a challenge for you. Tell me something good that happened since October 7. Tell me about some of the progress, not necessarily we have made as a nation, but that you have made. Focus on the positive. I know it's a cliche, but during war, I think this is the most important thing. Not to lose hope. Like when you're swimming through the storm, don't focus on the water. Don't talk about how wet it is. Don't talk about how cold it is. Look at the land. Talk about the land, because the land is almost there. We've almost reached it. So that is my video for the second October 7th anniversary. It's a sad day, but it's also a day in which we have a lot to be proud of. And see you next video. Bye-bye. Shalom.